Chapter 10. Doom-laden. The room was a cave of shadows, each corner shrouded in darkness, save for the cold glow of monitors casting an eerie light on Doom-laden's face. Lines of code cascaded down the screens, a digital waterfall in an abyss of ones and zeros. She sat motionless, the only sound the clacking of keys beneath her fingertips. Until it wasn't. A shift in rhythm, a break in pattern. Ethical boundaries crumbled with every keystroke. Doom-laden had crossed the line, her hands weaving a web of betrayal against a corporation that trusted her. The cyber attack began. Stephanie McBride's phone erupted into life, its shrill tone slicing through the stillness of her home. She snatched it up, her pulse quickening as the alert blazed across the screen. A major cyber breach in progress. Her eyes darted over the data, the signature unmistakable, the patterns all too familiar. It was Doom-laden's work, no doubt about it. Stephanie's mentor, once a beacon of guidance in the murky waters of cyberspace, now the source of the storm. Bugger, she muttered under her breath, the words barely escaping her lips. She felt the sting of betrayal like a slap across her face. Doom-laden, the hacker who taught her to navigate the net, to uphold justice in the digital realm. She'd turned rogue. Stephanie's mind raced, trying to piece together the fragments of this new, disturbing puzzle. Every lesson, every shared triumph, now tainted by the venom of deceit. "Steph, what's wrong?" Brett called from the other room, picking up on the tension that now radiated from her. "Work," she replied tersely, her attention fixed on the unfolding chaos within her phone. She needed answers. But more than that, she needed to stop Doom-laden before the damage became irreparable. Her friend had become her target, and Stephanie McBride was not one to back down from the hunt. Logan. The phone vibrated on the cluttered desk. I snatched it up, thumbing off the security code with a practiced swipe. An alert flashed, cyber attack in progress. My eyes didn't miss a beat. Doom-laden's digital fingerprint was all over the chaos splayed across the screen. She'd gone dark, crossed lines we never dared to. "Dan," I said, voice low. "It's her." Dan stopped fiddling with those loose wires in his hand. His gaze lifted, eyes narrowing as he read the room, read me. He knew without words. The storm had hit home. "Tell me you're joking," he replied, the edges of his sentence sharp with disbelief. "I wish I was." I stood, my chair scraping back against the worn floorboards of our makeshift workroom. My mind worked overtime, flicking through memories like pages in a book. Doom-laden had been more than a mentor. She'd been the North Star in a murky sky. And now she'd fallen. "Can we stop her?" Dan's question hung in the air, heavy with the weight of unspoken fears. It wasn't his world, but he'd dived headfirst into the fire for me. That's who Dan was, solid, unbreakable. "Maybe. We have to try." My fingers were already on my keyboard, countermoves forming in my head. But doubt clawed at me. Could I really go up against Doom-laden? The screen cut to black. Then an image flickered to life. A woman shrouded in shadow, fingers dancing with purpose. Doom-laden. Her eyes were fixed, unblinking, locked onto the glowing screens that surrounded her like a high-tech fortress. The intensity in her gaze was a beacon of her resolve, a terrifying testament to her newfound mission. "Logan, man, what are we up against?" Dan's voice pulled me back from the edge of panic. "More than we ever planned for," I admitted, watching Doom-laden's silhouette bend and weave through the web of her own making. I knew the stakes. We weren't just trying to stop a cyber attack. We were about to go head-to-head with a ghost we once called a friend. The notification blared on my screen, its shrill tone mocking the silence of my room. Doom-laden's signature move. It was unmistakable. Each line of code was a breadcrumb leading back to her. Betrayal tasted bitter in my mouth. "Bugger it," I muttered, feeling the walls close in. The same texts she taught me were now being used against us all. Stephanie's face flashed on my second monitor, her call cutting through the static of my thoughts. "Logan," she said, her voice taut like a wire. "You've seen it?" "Yeah," my reply was a croak. "It's her." "Impossible," she denied, but her eyes betrayed her. They flickered with doubt. "Doom-laden wouldn't—" "Wouldn't what?" I interjected. "She's gone rogue, Steph. No other explanation." "Remember when we started?" Stephanie's question hung between us, a reminder of simpler times. How she took us under her wing? Taught us everything. I clenched my jaw. Feels like a damn setup now. Her principles, Stephanie trailed off, grappling with the dissonance. Principles change. I was curt. She needed to see the reality. People change. Betrayal is a tough pill to swallow, Stephanie conceded. Her face was a mask of professionalism, but her voice had softened just for a moment. Especially from a friend, I echoed. The words stung. Was she ever truly that, Logan? A friend? Thought so, I hesitated. The past felt like a lie. We need to act. Agreed. Stephanie's nod was resolute. We bring her in. Before she does more damage, I swallowed hard. This was war. Stay sharp, Logan. There was an edge of concern in her voice. Always am. The line went dead. Stephanie was on the hunt. A storm brewed within me. Friendship and survival, they were at odds. And in the vastness of rural Australia, both were as essential as the blood coursing through my veins. Dust kicked up by the restless wind pressed against the window pane of my makeshift office. The screens cast an eerie glow, flickering with every line of code that raced past. The silence was thick, punctured only by the tapping of my fingers on the keys. Dan, I said, voice low. You seen this? My eyes didn't leave the screen. Data hemorrhaged from Doom-laden's latest strike. He leaned over, squinting at the rapid scroll. That's her, all right. No technical skills, but Dan knew patterns, knew people. Always thought she was on our side. Doubt crept into my voice like the chill of an outback night. Now? Hard to say. Dan's shadow loomed behind me. People hide stuff, like snakes in the grass. Trust is a luxury, I muttered. Each keystroke was a question. Was loyalty just another exploit to her? Stephanie's onto her, Dan added, glancing at his phone. A message from Sarah, ignored. Another fracture in this world. Means we're in the crossfire. My thoughts raced faster than I could type. With each command, I felt the bridge burning between us and Doom-laden, between survival and betrayal. Where do we stand, mate? Dan's hand rested heavy on my shoulder. Solid. Real. Survival first, I said, the conclusion bitter on my tongue. Friendship, if it ever was one, comes second. Risks? He was always direct. It grounded him. High, I paused. Consequences? Higher. Then we decide. His voice was firm. Loyalty or logic? Logic, I grunted. We find her before Stephanie does. Get some answers. Or we end up as collateral damage. Dan's silhouette stiffened. The weight of the world was on his shoulders, but he carried it. For Sarah, for Lily. Let's move, I said, pushing back from the desk. The chair groaned, a harbinger of the storm to come. Right behind you. Dan's steps were decisive. A man used to running, towards something, away from everything else. We left the room, the screen still scrolling with Doom-laden's chaos. Out there, under the vast Australian sky, we would chase a ghost, a friend turned phantom. But in the wilds of Meningi, survival wasn't about chasing ghosts. It was about facing them. And we were ready. The phone buzzed. Stephanie's grim face flickered on the screen. I thumbed accept. "Logan," she said, "we need to talk." "About Doomladen?" My voice was flat, stripped of warmth. "Meet me. Now." Her tone left no room for argument. I hung up and turned to Andy, who sat across from me, his wiry frame tense with anticipation. "Stephanie knows," I muttered. "Knows what?" His eyes were sharp, cutting through the pretense. "Everything." I grabbed my jacket. "She's on to Doomladen." Christ! He pushed back his chair, papers scattering like autumn leaves. "What's your play?" "Confront her." The words tasted like ash. "Get some bloody answers." "Be careful, mate." Concern creased Andy's brow. "Doomladen's dangerous now." "Always was." I shrugged in my jacket. "Just didn't see it." "Then let's expose her. Together." Andy's determination mirrored my own. "For justice." "Justice," I echoed, a hollow promise in the void. The door to Doomladen's lair creaked open. Shadows pooled like oil. I stepped inside. "Logan." Her voice was calm, too calm. "Cut the crap, Doomladen." My words were bullets. "Why'd you do it?" "Isn't it obvious?" A smirk twisted her lips. "Chaos is liberating." "Chaos is betrayal." My hands clenched. "We trusted you." "Trust is for children." She leaned back, relaxed. "And fools." "Which were we?" Anger flared in my chest. "Does it matter?" She tapped at her keyboard, dismissive. "You're here now." "Because you turned rogue." I slammed my fist on the desk. "Why?" "Power." She looked up, eyes glinting. "Control." "Over what? Us?" I scoffed. "You lost that the moment you crossed us." "Did I?" Doomladen's smile was a knife. Or did I just clear the board? "Games are over." I stood tall, unyielding. "We're coming for you." "Then come." She waved a hand. "But remember, Logan, survival isn't about friendship. It's about facing the truth." "Truth?" I spat. "You wouldn't know it if it bit you." "Perhaps," she returned to her screens, "but I'm not the one chasing ghosts." I left her there, amid the glow of her treachery. Outside, the Australian night was vast and unforgiving. "Survival," I whispered into the darkness. "Friendship be damned." My phone buzzes. Mel, my mole in Sapol's cybercrime unit. "Got something?" she says, her voice edged with triumph. "You need to see this." "Tell me." I'm half demand, half plea. "Not over the phone." "It's big, Logan. It changes everything." "Where?" My pulse hammers. "Meet me at the usual cafe." The line goes dead. I'm moving before I think, driven by the need for answers, for some shred of truth amid the lies. The night air is sharp as I push through it, every step heavy with the weight of betrayal. Mel's waiting, a sentinel in the dim light of the cafe. In her hands, a folder, the key to Doomladen's twisted labyrinth. "Logan." She doesn't waste words. "Look." I take the folder, open it, and then I see it. The evidence, the motive. It hits me like a gut punch. Bloody. My voice trails off into nothing. Yep. Mel's eyes are hard as flint. Now we know why. The revelation crashes over me, wave after relentless wave. Doomladen's reasons, her betrayal, it's all there in black and white. "Logan." Mel's hand is on my shoulder. "You have to act. Now." "Act how?" There's a new fire burning within me, an inferno of purpose. "Bring her down." Mel's resolve is a beacon in the dark. Right. My jaw sets. I'm ready. I step out into the night, a warrior against the chaos doom-laden has unleashed. But deep down, I know it's not just about bringing her to justice. It's about reclaiming what was lost. Trust, friendship, survival. I can't help but wonder if those things can ever truly be restored. The battle begins.